Hello, we're just reading Say What You Mean. I know it's reversed, but it's called Say What You Mean, a Mindful Approach to Nonviolent Communication. These limits, here, get a little closer so you can hear me better. These limits are often not just conceptual, they're also sensory, meaning our capacity to feel the nuances of our emotional life may be attended and atrophied. Years of shutting off or avoiding emotions can mute things. This is completely workable, meaning we can change that and work on it. We begin by bringing awareness to our experience just as it is wherever we are. So you hear about mindfulness all the time, all over doctors and YouTube. This is going to explain what's really going on. It's not just be present, that's part of it. We all have a different relationship to emotions. It's common to not know how we feel, even to feel numb at times. Or if you're like me, disassociated. But I don't do that anymore. It took a long time. Sometimes we may feel things quite intensely. There's no right way to be. It's very important. There's no right way to feel or be. You can be in a lot of pain. Your lower back hurts. That's okay. So your lower back's gonna hurt. It's all right. What we're aiming for is the ability to identify how we feel in the moment, to clear the mental and sensory channels so that we receive the feedback from our surroundings and relationships. Naming our emotions is a necessary foundation for mindful communication and the first component of emotional regulation. We refine this ability by finding them in our body. Have you ever stopped to examine an emotion directly? What is this surge of energy that can race through us like a hurricane? If you look closely, you'll discover that every emotion is a dynamic interplay of body, heart, and mind, a blend of sensations fed by thoughts and meanings. A word such as sadness or joy refers to a rich world of inner experience. Sensation is a primary component of an emotion. Sadness may include pressure in our chest, a hardness in our throat, or heaviness in our eyes. Joy feels expansive, spacious, warm, or light. Emotions also have embodied shape. Sadness lowers our head and drops our shoulders. Anger clenches our jaw and fists. Confidence lifts our chin. It works in the reverse too. Assuming the bodily posture of an emotion stimulates its associated neurochemistry. I'll say that one more time because it's important. Assuming the bodily posture of an emotion stimulates its associated neurochemistry. Articulating the facial muscles into a smile can raise our spirits, and standing tall can induce strength or confidence. The more clearly it's a little warm in here, that's why I'm sweaty. The more clearly we begin to sense the somatic experience of our emotions, the more alert and skilled we become in identifying what we are feeling. Over time, through patient mindful attention, our palette begins to expand. We go from just 4 colors to 10, then 20, and eventually to a very rich display. Like a painter with different tones of blue, lavender, and gray to paint the sky, we can learn to identify and feel the full range of our emotions. Yet, just because our palette is growing doesn't mean we know how to paint. We can be aware of what we're feeling and still be driven or oppressed by our emotions. Their intensity can transfix our attention and spin us around. The next phrase of practicing emotional agility, that's a cool phrase. The next phrase of practicing emotional agility is to learn how to manage them, to experience them in a non-reactive way. This is sometimes called emotion regulation, and it has more to do with internal balance than control. To return to the analogy, if emotion recognition expands our palette, emotion regulation teaches us to hold the brush properly. Every emotion has a tone, a kind of primary flavor of pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And that's it. There's no other ones. Just pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. In fact, some schools of thought in Buddhism believe there's only pleasant or unpleasant. This underlying agreeable or disagreeable tone is often what keeps us going. It's what we crave, what we try to avoid, or what we resist feeling. Emotions can also have an energetic component, a sensory experience that spreads throughout the body. Anger often has a rolling, rushing feeling. Loving care can have a soothing, soft, or even warm quality. Excitement and joy may be bubbly. Anxiety can feel brittle or jangled. The tonality and energy of emotions tend to pull us in and push us around. It's our inability to tolerate the intensity of an unpleasant tone that sparks our reaction. Instead of sitting with the emotion and just feeling it, I do this too. We all do this. React to the emotion, especially if it's anger or frustration. We can use mindfulness to notice this aspect of our feelings and stabilize our attention there, instead of being dragged along by the thoughts and stories that feed them. Rather than clamping down or cutting ourselves off from our emotions, emotion regulation invites us to feel them fully. We develop the patience, strength, and spaciousness to let these waves of tone and energy wash through us without getting toppled by them. Our emotions almost always come with a story. While we may feel joyful or sad for no apparent reason, more often than not, we are responding to something specific in our internal or external environment. This last dimension of emotions is the most complex. The thoughts, stories, and meanings associated with them. The interplay between our thoughts and emotions is fascinating to explore. They often feed one another. Thoughts and stories provide fuel for emotion, which in turn sparks further thinking and rumination. Sifting through layers of thought, we usually find at the core of an emotion some meaning or belief that is connected to our deeper needs. Focusing on what matters means getting at the crux of this juncture to any meaning and associated needs. Within sadness, we may find the perception, I am all alone, and a longing for companionship, friendship, or community. At the heart of shame may be the belief, I'm not good enough, and needs for self-acceptance, dignity, or recognition. When I told my mother I was ordaining as a Buddhist monastic, storms of all the components, meaning, tone, energy, and sensation, tore through our hearts. The mother was Catholic. The mother was Jewish. To handle our emotions, we must develop the ability to notice these elements and feel them fully, to attune to all dimensions of an emotion without getting thrown by any of them. The more balanced we are internally, the easier it is to talk about our own and others' emotions. So here's the big principle. This perfect way to end the video. This is in bold, so it must be important. Being aware of our emotions supports our ability to choose concisely how we participate in a conversation or in life. Okay, that is going to be it for today. Thank you for reading and listening with me. And I hope you all have a wonderful month.